Reddit, often hailed as the front page of the internet, is home to a staggering 1.6 billion monthly active users, catering to a vast array of interests and communities. Yet beneath this vast and vibrant platform lies a dark side, revealing some of the most disturbing stories ever recorded about its users. This exploration dives into the haunting narratives of two individuals, beginning with Carl H., a Reddit celebrity who went from celebrated programming mentor to disgraced criminal, and continuing with the tragic saga of Jason and Brandy, whose harrowing story touches on the devastating consequences of betrayal and mental health struggles. Reddit, famously known as the front page of the internet, is home to 1.6 billion active users every month, catering to an extraordinarily diverse community. Yet within this vibrant platform lies a darker narrative and one of the most disturbing stories emerging from Reddit centers around Carl H. Carl H.'s Reddit journey began in 2006, less than a year after the platform's launch. For the first few years, he was relatively unknown, engaging mostly in political and religious discussions, which was quite typical in those early days of Reddit. This routine continued for about 3 years until September 2009, when Carl H. introduced an idea that would bring him considerable fame inside the Reddit community. He posted an offer to provide a free programming course, sharing over 15 years of his professional programming expertise. Carl expressed that he found joy in teaching others and had some free time to assist those struggling with coding challenges. His straightforward message, that he was simply being kind and hoping to help people, struck a chord. Within hours, his post attracted hundreds of comments and flooded his inbox with programming requests. Not content with helping a handful, Carl committed to assisting as many people as possible. He tirelessly created hundreds of posts covering programming skills for every level, from complete novices to experts. His Reddit profile soon overflowed with thousands of replies, and he even took his teaching beyond the platform by hosting Skype sessions and launching a YouTube channel. His dedication paid off, as he amassed over 8,000 Reddit followers within a few months. To further expand his outreach, Carl launched a free-use programming website called ComputerScienceForEveryone.com. Over the next 2 years, his community grew exponentially. By 2012, his subreddit had garnered more than 20,000 subscribers, and his YouTube channel boasted over 30,000 followers. A remarkable feat at the time. The Reddit community adored him, culminating in Carl receiving the prestigious Redditor of the Day award on July 26, 2012. Yet the sudden silence that followed in November 2013 shocked everyone. Carl's Reddit and YouTube accounts abruptly ceased activity. His followers noticed the void deeply. The programming subreddits lingered, but one familiar voice was gone. The community speculated about his absence, suggesting everything from a work hiatus to health issues. However, an unsettling revelation emerged weeks later. A Reddit user unearthed news about an individual named Cole Harold, a single father living with a 9-year-old child, and his partner Charles Dunavant. Following a thorough FBI probe, both Cole and Charles were arrested for producing, distributing, and participating in illicit activities involving an underage child. Horrifically, it was discovered that Harold's child had been imprisoned in a basement for at least 8 months without schooling or medical care, enduring systemic abuse that was recorded and disseminated online. Initially, many in Carl's once devoted Reddit community couldn't believe Cole Harold was the same person as Carl H. They grappled with reconciling the generous programming mentor they admired with the criminal allegations against Harold. Some dismissed the connection as mere coincidence, noting that similar initials don't prove identity. Yet as Redditors combed through Carl's past posts, disturbing contradictions surfaced. Carl had frequently expressed strong Christian beliefs and conservative views, including staunch opposition to homosexuality, often engaging in heated debates to defend his stance. Such teachings starkly clashed with the profile painted by the accused individual. Observers noted this pattern of anti-gay rhetoric as a potential shield for hidden personal conflicts. Eventually, direct evidence linked Carl H. to Cole Harold, including personal details such as his name and references to homeschooling his son, posts dating back several years that aligned with the age of the victim child. The horrifying truth became undeniable. Carl H. was, in fact, involved in the atrocious crimes, facing 18 counts ranging from conspiracy to commit sodomy to aggravated child abuse. Carl declined a state-assigned attorney and hired his own legal counsel, but before his day in court arrived, tragedy struck. On November 3, 2013, Carl H. took his own life while in custody. His partner, Charles Dunavant, was later sentenced to 56 years in prison. The Reddit community's response was merciless. The man they once revered as a generous teacher became the most despised figure on the platform, labeled a coward who couldn't face the consequences of his actions. The descent from celebrated Redditor of the day to condemned criminal serves as a chilling reminder that the facade one presents online can hide unspeakable darkness beneath. Gallows appeared to be just another ordinary Reddit user, someone who loved gaming, memes, and shared the kind of content you might expect from a regular member of the community. He created his account on September 2nd, 2017, and for quite some time, he blended into the vast Reddit crowd with no particular distinction. He participated actively in popular subreddits like r/memes, r/FortniteBR, and r/AskReddit, often leaving comments that were typical and unremarkable. At first glance, there was nothing about Gallows that suggested anything out of the ordinary. However, beneath this surface, Gallows was quietly battling a profound depression, a struggle he slowly began to reveal through the faint hints scattered across his posts. Over time, his comments and posts began to expose his internal turmoil. In one Reddit thread titled, "People Who Used to Be Straight-A Students But Later Changed," what happened? Gallows shared a personal account of his mental state, explaining how he had once excelled academically, but once high school started, depression took hold. He stated that while he could still ace quizzes and tests, his overall grades dropped because he stopped turning in assignments and completing labs. This post was just one glimpse into his growing despair. Over the course of hundreds of posts, Gallows increasingly expressed feelings of worthlessness and self-loathing. In another message, he joked darkly about wishing his parents had been stricter, saying it might have prevented him from becoming a useless waste of space. He even admitted to wishing he had never been born, an alarming revelation veiled in casual online banter. These cries for help, hidden within otherwise commonplace comments, went largely unnoticed by the Reddit community. In one particularly revealing post on r/AskReddit, when asked about the most depressing moment or realization in life, Gallows opened up about the contradictions of his existence. Despite being born into a supportive family, having friends, living in a privileged country, and possessing the ability to fix many of his problems, he still found himself completely incapable of fixing his own happiness. He described himself as too useless and still unhappy, painting a clear picture of a deep and persistent struggle that remained invisible to those around him. What made the situation even more tragic was that while Gallows desperately needed help, he never truly received it. The underlying depression festered unchecked, and the dire consequences unfolded far beyond the digital realm. Gallows' story became intertwined with that of his brother, Farron Toit, a 19-year-old from Texas who also grappled with depression. Farron had similar difficulties and eventually dropped out of university, retreating to his family home where he spent much of his time gaming and avoiding the world. The brothers' mutual despair led them down a dark path. A pact was made between them. If neither found relief from their depression within a set period, they would commit an unimaginable act together, a murder-suicide involving their entire family. Initially, the timeline was set for 1 year, but the unbearable weight of their pain shortened this to just 1 month. In preparation, Farron purchased a firearm without difficulty and detailed the ease of acquisition in chilling online posts. On April 5, 2021, authorities were alerted following a deeply disturbing Instagram post by Farron in which he confessed to killing himself and his family. Police found a horrific scene of bloodshed at the family home. The grandmother, who had been visiting for Easter, was among the victims, along with Farron's family members. Farron's final message shed light on his tortured mindset, expressing thoughts of seeking attention even in death, chronicling his mental health struggles, and controversially including a note about the television show The Office, which had been his temporary escape from reality. In that post, references linked back to the Reddit user Gallows, connecting the heartbreaking tragedy to the online persona that had briefly surfaced. Ultimately, Gallo's story is a stark reminder of how hidden mental health struggles can fester online, masked by ordinary appearances. Behind the screen, an individual's silence can conceal storms of despair, with devastating consequences far beyond what anyone might expect from a simple Reddit user with a seemingly typical digital footprint. Jason and Brandy's tragic story unfolds as a deeply emotional and heartbreaking saga posted on Reddit by Jason, who sought advice after uncovering his wife Brandy's infidelity. Jason's ordeal began in May 2015 during a hectic period at work when he noticed unusual behavior from Brandy, such as putting a password on her phone, something she had never done before. She explained this as preparation for a Father's Day surprise, which involved their neighbor building him an office. However, Jason soon grew suspicious. Despite Brandy's initial explanations, Jason noticed that she frequently smiled at her phone and was secretive about her communications. His instincts led him to secretly install tracking software on her phone to monitor her activity. It was then he discovered a suggestive message from Brandy to their neighbor, which she dismissed as a joke. But as time went on, the evidence of her affair became impossible to ignore, especially when Jason witnessed real-time exchanges between Brandy and the neighbor discussing intimate plans and sending explicit photos. Confronting Brandy and the neighbor, Jason faced denials, but ultimately Brandy admitted to the betrayal. She threatened to use custody of their children against him, citing his prior suicide attempt as grounds to question his fitness as a parent. Despite the pain, Jason stayed composed for the sake of their two children, Tyler and Charlie. The marriage deteriorated, leading to separation. However, Brandy's manipulative actions continued, even sending another explicit photo to the neighbor after separation, which pushed Jason to the breaking point and compelled him seek legal help via Reddit. Friends and commoners urged him to leave the marriage. Tragically, what followed was devastating. After receiving divorce papers, Brandy, overwhelmed by the situation, enacted a horrific plan. In the early morning hours, she called 911, confessing that she had killed their two children and stabbed herself. Police arrived to a distressing scene. The children fatally wounded in their home and Brandy injured but alive. Her chilling call revealed no remorse. She explained it was because Jason wanted a divorce and custody of the kids. Brandy's mother was present and horrified by the discovery. Jason was left shattered, forced to comprehend the loss and devastation wrought upon their family. Brandy pleaded temporary insanity, but eventually was sentenced to 55 years for the murder of her son and 65 years for the murder of her daughter. Meanwhile, Jason's grief continued as he grappled with the trauma, returning to the house where his children were killed, enduring the memories, and facing ongoing challenges, including strained relations with in-laws who even barred him from visiting his children's graves. Jason's heartbreaking Reddit updates revealed his struggle with depression, his reliance on alcohol, and feelings of failure as a father. Yet, even amid profound loss, he shared wisdom, urging others to cherish their loved ones, appreciating that his final words to his children were, "I love you, good night. I will see you in the morning." This tragic story underscores the complexities of mental health. the devastating impact of betrayal, and the urgent need for awareness and support in such crises. Reddit, known as the front page of the internet, is home to an immense and diverse community of 1.6 billion monthly active users. Yet beneath this sprawling digital landscape lies a shadowy side where shocking and tragic stories emerge. The case of Carl H. is a haunting example. Beginning as a beloved programming mentor who selflessly shared knowledge with thousands, he ultimately vanished only to be discovered as the perpetrator of unspeakable crimes against his own child. His fall from grace shattered the faith of many who once admired him. Similarly, the story of Gallows illustrates how hidden struggles with depression and inner pain can go unnoticed on the surface of online interactions. Despite appearing like any other user who enjoyed games and memes, Gallows' silent battle culminated in a devastating family murder-suicide with his brother, revealing the deep and dangerous consequences of untreated mental illness. Finally, the tragic saga of Jason and Brandy tells of love broken by betrayal, a man seeking advice and support on Reddit while grappling with his wife's infidelity, which ultimately ended in the heartbreaking murder of their children and Brandy's own death. This story underscores the profound complexities of mental health, personal relationships, and the potentially fatal fallout from unresolved emotional turmoil. Together, these accounts underscore the hidden darkness that can lurk behind seemingly ordinary online identities and lives. They serve as grim reminders of the critical need for awareness, compassion, and seeking help for mental health challenges before tragedy strikes. Through understanding and conversation, we can hope to bring light to the shadows that sometimes go unnoticed in the vastness of the internet. If these haunting stories have moved you and sparked reflection, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing your thoughts. By opening up conversations around mental health and awareness, we can shed light on the hidden struggles that many face and promote understanding in our communities. Your voice matters. Let's talk about the darkness behind the screens and support those who need it most.